Listen up. Right now, at this very moment, you're standing at a crossroads. One path leads to greatness, fulfillment, and success the other. The same old cycle of excuses, procrastination, and regret. And the only enemy standing in your way? Laziness. But let's be real, laziness isn't just lying on the couch, scrolling endlessly, or resting for a few minutes that turn into wasted hours. Laziness is a disease of the mind. It's the little voice whispering and you can do it later. It's the invisible chain that keeps you stuck where you are, making you a prisoner of your own potential. Enough. Today we declare war against laziness. Step 1, command your mind. Your brain is a machine. It does what you tell it to do. Right now, you've trained it to accept comfort over challenge, delay over discipline. But here's the truth. You are not your lazy thoughts. You can rewire your mind. You can reprogram your habits. You can become a force of unstoppable action. Step 2, kill procrastination with massive action. Stop waiting for motivation. It's a lie. It won't show up on its own. You don't need motivation to take action. You need to take action to create motivation. Small steps lead to big momentum. Start now. Do one thing that moves you forward right now. Step 3, raise your standards. If you're tired of getting the same results, it's time to stop living at the same level. Winners don't accept laziness. They reject mediocrity. They raise their standards and refuse to live by excuses. Ask yourself, what is the standard I will never drop below again? Then live by it. Step 4, make pain your power. You've got two choices, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One is temporary, the other lasts a lifetime. Feel the pain of staying where you are. Feel the pain of wasted potential. Use that pain as fuel. Step 5, build relentless momentum. Momentum is everything. Once you start moving, you become unstoppable. Winners don't stop when they feel tired. They stop when they're done. One action leads to another, and soon you're a machine, a powerhouse, a force to be reckoned with. Final message, win or stay stagnant, your choice. Right now, make the decision, will you be a warrior or a weakling? Will you dominate or be dominated? The battle against laziness is won with action, discipline, and an unbreakable mindset. You already have everything you need inside you. Now go out there and win. No more excuses, no more waiting, no more laziness. It's your time. Extreme ownership means taking full responsibility for everything in your life, your successes, your failures, your habits, your results, and the direction you're heading. It's about cutting out excuses, eliminating blame, and owning every decision you make. The moment you decide that everything in your life is a direct result of your own actions, you reclaim power. No more pointing fingers at the government, the economy, your parents, your circumstances, or your bad luck. The truth is, if something isn't working in your life, it's because you haven't fully owned it yet. People who embrace extreme ownership never say, it's not my fault. Instead, they ask, what could I have done differently? They don't dwell on problems, they search for solutions. They don't complain about obstacles, they find ways to break through them. Every single moment presents a choice, either step up and own your life or life own you. Weak people give up control by blaming others. They say, I don't have the right resources, I wasn't given the same opportunities, or it's just too hard. Winners don't think like that. Winners say, I'll find a way, I'll figure it out. I'll make it happen. Imagine waking up every morning with the mindset that everything in your life is up to you. How much power would that give you? How much control would that give you? Because the moment you take ownership, you take control. You stop waiting for permission, for motivation, for the perfect conditions. You stop waiting for someone to come and save you because you realize that no one is coming. It's all on you. The good news, that means you have the ability to change anything. If your business isn't growing, own it. If your health is suffering, own it. If your relationships are falling apart, own it. If you're stuck in a cycle of procrastination and laziness, own it. Every single thing in your life is a direct result of your standards, your decision, your actions. Some people hate this idea. They resist it because it's easier to stay in victim mode. It's easier to believe life is unfair, that they're powerless, that external factors control them. But the harsh truth is this: if you don't take ownership, you give away your power. You become a puppet of your circumstances instead of the master of your destiny. Extreme ownership isn't about punishing yourself, it's about empowering yourself. It's about recognizing that you are in control of your reactions, your effort, and your mindset. No matter what happens, you get to choose how you respond. You get to choose whether you will be a victim or a leader. In every moment, there is an opportunity to step up or shrink back. When things go wrong, most people look for someone to blame. They look for excuses to justify why they failed. But those who embrace extreme ownership don't waste tape making excuses. They use that energy to get better. They see mistakes as lessons. They see failure as feedback. They see setbacks as setups for comebacks. They understand that the more responsibility they take, the more power they have. They know that nothing will change unless they change. They don't wait for luck. They create their own luck through relentless action and discipline. Think about the most successful people in the world. They didn't get there by accident. They didn't wait for the right moment. They didn't let fear stop them. They owned every part of their journey. They made decisions, took risks, failed, adjusted, and kept pushing forward. They never said, I can't. They said, how can I? They never said, it's not my fault. They asked, how do I fix this? That's what separates winners from losers. Winners own everything: their time, their habits, their mindset, their results. Losers wait for someone to save them. Winners understand that no one is responsible for their success except them. When you take extreme ownership, you no longer complain about circumstances, you change them. You no longer wait for motivation, you create it. You no longer fear failure, you embrace it as part of the process. You no longer wait for permission, you take action. You no longer settle for average, you demand greatness from yourself every single day. This is not about perfection. This is about accountability. It's about developing an unstoppable mindset that refuses to accept mediocrity. It's about setting higher standards for yourself and living by them no matter what. Most people sabotage themselves by refusing to take full responsibility. They allow distractions to control them, emotions to dictate their actions, and fear to hold them back. But once you commit to extreme ownership, you start playing at a different level. You stop making weak decisions based on how you feel, and you start making powerful decisions based on who you want to become. You stop relying on external motivation and start building unstoppable discipline. You stop making excuses and start making moves. Think about your life right now. Where have you been making excuses? Where have you been avoiding responsibility? Where have you been blaming others? The moment you acknowledge these areas, you take back control. You shift from a passive state to an active state. You go from reacting to creating. And when you do that, everything changes. Suddenly, you're no longer just going through life, you're leading it. You're no longer surviving, you're thriving. You're no longer stuck, you're moving forward with unstoppable momentum. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter how many times you failed. It doesn't matter how stuck you feel. What matters is what you do next. You can choose to stay where you are, making the same excuses, telling yourself the same story, or you can choose to take control. You can choose to own your actions, your mindset, your habits, and your results. You can choose to step up and be the leader of your own life. Because in the end, success is not about luck, talent, or circumstances. It's about ownership. The more responsibility you take, the more power you have. The more ownership you embrace, the more unstoppable you become. The high-performance habits are the foundation of success in every area of life. They are the small, consistent actions that separate the extraordinary from the average, the unstoppable from the stagnant, and the elite from the mediocre. The truth is, success is never an accident. It is the direct result of the habits you build, the discipline you develop, and the standards you set for yourself every single day. Most people dream of success, but few are willing to develop the habits necessary to achieve it. High performers don't just rely on motivation, they rely on systems, routines, and non-negotiable habits that drive them forward even when they don't feel like it. They understand that their habits determine their future, so they consciously shape their actions to align with their highest potential. They don't wait for the perfect moment, they create it through relentless consistency. High performers start their day with intentionality. They don't wake up and immediately dive into distractions, scrolling through their phones or reacting to what the world throws at them. Instead, they take control of their morning, setting the tone for their day with clarity, focus, and purpose. They engage in habits that sharpen their mindset, whether it's reading, journaling, meditating, or planning their day with precision. They know that the way they start their day determines the momentum they carry forward, so they never allow themselves to drift aimlessly. They set their priorities early, ensuring that every action they take moves them closer to their goals. They don't operate on autopilot. They operate with intention, attacking their day with purpose and energy. Discipline is the backbone of high performance. The best performers in any field don't wait for motivation to strike. They take action regardless of how they feel. They have trained themselves to push forward even when it's uncomfortable, even when they're tired, even when they don't want to. They understand that greatness is built in the moments when no one is watching, when the excitement has worn off, and when showing up feels like the hardest thing to do. They don't make excuses, they execute. They don't negotiate with themselves, they commit. Their ability to stay consistent, to do the hard work day in and day out, is what sets them apart from those who only perform when it's convenient. They have learned to master their emotions instead of letting their emotions master them. Energy management is a priority for high performers. They don't just focus on working harder, they focus on working smarter. They understand that their physical and mental energy directly impact their performance, so they invest in habits that keep them operating at their peak. They fuel their bodies with the right nutrition, engage in regular exercise, and prioritize high-quality sleep. They don't view these habits as optional, they see them as essential to sustaining long-term success. They know that a sharp mind requires a strong body, so they refuse to neglect their health. They also manage their mental energy by eliminating distractions, protecting their focus, and surrounding themselves with environments that fuel their growth. They don't allow negativity, toxic people, or useless information to drain their energy. They guard their mindset like a fortress, ensuring that everything they consume adds value to their mission. High performers are obsessed with growth. They never settle for what they already know. They are always seeking new knowledge, new skills, and new perspectives. They read, they learn, they ask questions, and they push themselves beyond their comfort zones. They don't wait for opportunities to come to them. They prepare themselves to seize opportunities before they even arise. They understand that stagnation is the enemy of greatness, so they constantly challenge themselves to evolve. They welcome feedback even when it's uncomfortable because they know that growth comes from confronting their weaknesses, not avoiding them. They see challenges as opportunities, failures as lessons, and setbacks as stepping stones toward greater success. They don't fear discomfort, they embrace it because they know that discomfort is where real progress happens. Clarity is a defining trait of high performers. They don't just work hard, they work with purpose. They have a clear vision of what they want to achieve, and they structure their actions around that vision. They set specific goals, create strategic plans, and measure their progress relentlessly. They don't waste time on meaningless tasks or distractions that don't align with their mission. They are masters of prioritization, knowing exactly where to direct their time and energy for maximum impact. They don't allow themselves to get caught up in busyness. They focus on effectiveness. They don't just do more, they do what matters most. Every decision they make is intentional, designed to move them closer to their ultimate vision. Resilience is a non-negotiable habit for high performers. They don't crumble under pressure or give up when things get tough. They have trained themselves to thrive in adversity, to keep pushing forward even when the odds are against them. They don't let failure define them, they use it as fuel to get better. They don't let setbacks slow them down. They find ways to turn them into advantages. They have conditioned themselves to be mentally tough, to embrace the struggle and to keep moving forward no matter what. They don't see obstacles as roadblocks. They see them as opportunities to grow stronger. They refuse to let external circumstances dictate their success because they know that their mindset is their greatest weapon. Execution separates high performers from those who only talk about success. They don't just dream big, they take massive action. They don't get stuck in overthinking, waiting for the perfect plan or the perfect time. They understand that progress is built through action, not just intention. They move fast, they make decisions, and they adapt along the way. They are relentless in their pursuit of results, refusing to let fear, doubt, or uncertainty hold them back. They take responsibility for their outcomes, knowing that no one else is going to do the work for them. They have a bias toward action, always looking for ways to move forward, improve, and achieve at higher levels. They don't just hope for success, they create it through relentless execution. Surrounding themselves with the right people is a critical habit of high performers. They don't waste time with negativity, drama, or energy draining relationships. They intentionally build networks of ambitious, driven, and growth-minded individuals who challenge them to be better. They seek out mentors, coaches, and peers who inspire them to push beyond their limits. They understand that their environment shapes their mindset, so they place themselves in rooms where excellence is the standard. They don't settle for average company because they know that who they surround themselves with determines how far they will go. They choose relationships that elevate them, that push them, that force them to level up. High performers take ownership of their mindset. They don't allow fear, self-doubt, or negativity to control them. They train themselves to think in empowering ways, to focus on possibilities rather than limitations. They don't entertain negative self-talk or allow excuses to creep into their minds. They condition themselves to stay mentally strong, to believe in their ability to overcome any challenge. They cultivate an unshakable confidence, not by waiting for external validation, but by proving to themselves through consistent action that they are capable of achieving greatness. They program their minds for success, knowing that their thoughts create their reality. They refuse to let limiting beliefs hold them back because they know that success starts in the mind. Every high performer understands that success is built through the habits they execute daily. They don't rely on luck, talent, or circumstances to determine their future. They take control, they build discipline, and they commit to doing whatever it takes to operate at the highest level. They don't just work hard occasionally. They live in a constant state of excellence. They don't accept mediocrity. They demand the best from themselves every single day. They know that true success isn't about one big breakthrough. It's about the relentless execution of small, powerful habits that compound over time. They refuse to be average because they know they are capable of so much more. They push, they grow, they execute, and they win. Laser focus is the ability to eliminate distractions, cut through the noise, and direct all of your energy toward one mission, one goal, one outcome. It is the superpower that separates high achievers from those who struggle with inconsistency, procrastination, and wasted potential. In a world filled with endless distractions, notifications, and temptations pulling people in every direction, those who master laser focus gain an undeniable advantage. They are not controlled by their environment, their emotions, or the chaos around them. Instead, they control their mind, their time, and their actions with ruthless precision. Most people allow their attention to be scattered. They jump from one task to another, constantly reacting instead of creating. They start something, get distracted, switch to something else, and wonder why they never make real progress. They check their phone, scroll through social media, reply to unimportant messages, and lose hours of their day without even realizing it. They tell themselves they are busy, but in reality, they are just unfocused. They are constantly multitasking, thinking it makes them more productive, but it only dilutes their efforts and makes everything take longer. They live in a state of mental fog, never fully locked in on one thing, and as a result, they never reach their full potential. Laser focus is the opposite of this. It is the ability to go all in on a task with full intensity, full concentration, and full commitment. It means eliminating everything that does not serve the mission and locking in with an unbreakable level of discipline. When you develop laser focus, you become unstoppable because nothing can pull you off course. You don't let small distractions steal your energy. You don't allow other people's priorities to dictate your schedule. You don't waste time on things that do not move the needle forward. You become singularly focused on the most important task at hand, and you execute with relentless precision. This level of focus requires training. It is not something that happens automatically. The modern world is designed to steal your attention, to keep you distracted, to keep you consuming instead of creating. Social media, endless notifications, emails, and messages all compete for your time and attention, making it nearly impossible to stay locked in. But the truth is, focus is a choice. You either allow yourself to be pulled in every direction, or you take control. You either set boundaries and guard your attention, or you allow it to be stolen by meaningless distractions. Every time you get distracted, you lose momentum. Every time you allow yourself to shift focus, you make it harder to regain deep concentration. This is why high achievers take control of their focus. They protect it as if their success depends on it, because it does. Laser focus starts with clarity. You cannot be focused if you do not know exactly what you are working toward. Vague goals lead to vague actions, and vague actions lead to weak results. The most focused people in the world have absolute clarity on what they want to achieve, why it matters, and what steps they need to take. They wake up every day knowing exactly what they need to do. They don't waste time wondering what to work on because they have already decided in advance. They structure their day, their environment, and their habits to support their ability to stay locked in. They eliminate distractions before they arise, creating a system that forces them to stay focused. Discipline is the foundation of laser focus. It is not about feeling motivated in the moment. It is about training yourself to stay locked in no matter what. It is about showing up and executing even when you don't feel like it. Distractions will always be there. There will always be a reason to stop, to check your phone, to take a break, to do something easier. But those who develop laser focus train themselves to push through those urges. They build the muscle of concentration, strengthening their ability to stay locked in for longer periods of time. They treat focus like a skill, and they refine it every single day. Energy management plays a huge role in laser focus. You cannot focus at a high level if you are constantly drained, exhausted, and running on low energy. This is why top performers prioritize their physical and mental energy. They fuel their body with the right foods, they move their body daily, and they get high quality strength. They know that focus is not just about mental strength. It is about giving your brain and body the fuel it needs to operate at its highest level. They also manage their mental energy by controlling their inputs. They don't fill their minds with negativity, drama, or useless information. They are intentional about what they consume, ensuring that everything they take in serves their growth, their mission, and their ability to stay sharp. Those who master laser focus eliminate decision fatigue. Every decision you make drains a little bit of your mental energy, making it harder to focus on what truly matters. This is why high achievers simplify their lives. They create routines that remove unnecessary decisions, allowing them to direct all of their mental energy toward their most important work. They don't waste time deciding what to wear, what to eat, or what task to start. They automate as much as possible so that their focus is reserved for what truly moves the needle. They also batch similar tasks together, reducing the number of times they have to shift focus. They know that every time they switch tasks, they lose valuable momentum. So they structure their work in a way that allows them to stay in deep concentration for extended periods. Environment plays a massive role in focus. Your surroundings either support your ability to concentrate or sabotage it. Those who are serious about laser focus design their environment with intention.